welcome to the first episode of the Inside and Offsides podcast. I'm joined with a very special guest here tonight. It is Jonathan McClure, aka Cullen Bohannon of the State Line Co. brand.
I was gonna ask you how it felt to say Jonathan McClure instead of Cullen Bohannon. It doesn't roll off the tongue quite the same.
It about didn't come out. I was looking at your name so I wouldn't mess it up.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I feel like it's awkward for me to be on one of these and not see Cullen Bohannon. But then in real life, it's awkward for me whenever somebody comes up and is like, "Hey, are you Cullen Bohannon?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny, like when you have that first interaction when somebody calls you like by what your name is on Twitter, and you're just like, "Whoa, what's going on here?"
Do you get called KFC a lot?
Not as much. Like once people get to know me.
Yeah. I think I called you KFC the first time. If I remember, I may have called you that like every time I've seen you in person.
Hey, it's all good. I respond. No, the first time somebody ever called me that, I was in Cleveland. I was walking through the Muni lot, and I was with some of my buddies, and this guy goes, KFC, and I was like, nah, I didn't hear that. And then he kept saying it. He's like, dude, I didn't know you were up here. And I was like, oh, crap.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny.
I can't remember, I may have said this on another podcast, but my neighbor's son he was asked to like come pick up some grown men, like a little designated driving.
Uh-huh.
And he was picking them up, and he had the upside down Kentucky hat on where he picked them up. And this guy that is on Twitter, he's like a middle-aged dude. He was like, I know the guy that created those. And Carson tells everybody he created it because it was his idea to do the blue and white. But he was like, I know the guy that created that. Carson was like, Jonathan? And he was like, no, that's not his name. He was like, it's Cullen Bohannon. And this dude was like straight up arguing with my neighbor for like an hour that my name was Cullen Bohannon. And Carson doesn't follow me on Twitter, so he had no idea what this, like, so confused.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the Twitter names are fun. I couldn't imagine being Jonathan McClure on Twitter. It wouldn't feel right.
No, the funniest part's when you meet the people that hide behind like burner accounts.
Oh yeah.
It's like you have a picture of what you think they look like.
Bush.
Yeah. And then like, well, other people too, like just like a few people we've met through like tailgates and stuff, and I'm just like, you're not anything like I expected.
Yeah. The funny thing about burners at the tailgate, I had multiple that walked up to me and were like, hey man, I'm Swaggy Pope, or I'm such and such, and I'm like, because I never really introduced myself as like Cullen Bohannon. Like if somebody calls me that, I'm like, okay. But like, it's weird to me because like I've met a couple of the other burners like from the group chats, and they're like, hey, I'm such and such. And I'm like, what a weird, like, it's just different, I guess.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah.
But you know, brother, you got the greatest hat line in all of God's green earth.
I appreciate it, man.
So what's going on over at State Line?
We, to be honest, we're still working on the Cleveland stuff. The London Strong thing kind of pushed us back on a lot of stuff. We've got some navy blue, red bill that we're going to come out with Cleveland-wide. We're obviously getting ready for the brown, khaki and brown, some of that stuff. We've got a new Cincinnati and Louisville hat coming out. And we've got a new Tennessee hat coming out. I'll send it to you whenever I'll send it to you. It is nasty. Corduroy camouflage, and it's going to have Kentucky upside down with a matching rope.
That's sick.
The corduroy is going to be sick. Like, the sample will be here in 2 weeks, or 2 or 3 weeks. And then if we approve the size and fit and everything, we are going to I think we're gonna do 100 to start, and then we've got polos that'll be here.
Those are tough.
Yeah, the polos, we're pretty excited about those. We're interested to see the material that we agreed on, I think is going to be really nice. Like I think it's going to shock people. I guess especially I think we're only going to sell them for like $60 or something like that. And the same company that's making ours makes Johnny O, Turtleson, and maybe Footjoy, and their polos all run like 110 to $150. So I mean, it should be a good material.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is well, tariffs and all that stuff's in effect. What I'm hearing is once all that stuff stops, State Line's gonna be dropping them down like $20.
Yeah. Actually, the nice thing is the only stuff that we are really running into tariffs wise will honestly be these corduroy hats, and that's the crappy thing is if we can pull it off, if they're nice, like I would like to think that we're gonna be like the Steve Jobs of like redneck hats. Like we'll be the guys that started it. I've never seen a camouflage corduroy before on a hat. Corduroy hats are kind of coming back in like the duck hunting world, especially. So I think the camo corduroy is gonna be it'll be sick. So we're gonna do some with we're gonna do some patches and some other stuff on it just because like I said nobody else is gonna have this. But I think the one that will move the fastest will for sure be the upside down Kentucky to start.
That's tough.
Yeah, pretty excited about it, man. It's
Well, I've got me a little State Line collection over here. I keep it on my podcasting table. And it's just like whatever I'm feeling. I've got a few. It's not even all of them, so it's bad.
Well, we're gonna have to get you some more.
See, look. God.
My man. I actually don't even have that hat. I got that one upstairs. I almost wore that one tonight. I've got one of those on my kitchen counter right now that my wife's told me to take upstairs like 4 times.
Shelby, she has told me to wear the sorry about my husband hat. She's tried to get me to wear it on this tonight, and I was like, I ain't doing it.
That's really her hat.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Sorry about my wife, which we've not made yet.
That might get you hurt.
Yeah, we're probably not going to enter into that realm. I'm not brave enough to wear it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be either.
Nope. This is news to everybody. Never before said on the internet. Our warehouse in London was entirely too small. We were technically we're paying a distributor and paying an embroidering company. Mm-hmm. We are in the process of a joint ownership, basically. And we are moving into a 3,000 square foot warehouse in London that's being completely remodeled. We're in talks of setting up like a podcast room to do some stuff with hunters, some different stuff like that. I think it's really going to be generated more toward like hunters, small business owners. But yeah, we're excited to try to get moved into that building. So
heck yeah, that's awesome.
We will see. Yeah, it's going to suck. All of us except for Cody live like 2 hours from this warehouse. But we'll see.
Yeah, so what I'm hearing is we're going to be able to get those State Line hats before we even think about them.
Hopefully. The other nice thing is if we move into this warehouse, we are not eligible for UPS pickup in Northern Kentucky. The warehouse we had previously was not eligible for UPS pickup. This warehouse is eligible for UPS pickup, and we're going to quit fooling with the post office. We've negotiated with UPS like 4 times, and it just it could fluctuate. A package could fluctuate between $11 and $17 for shipping to UPS. And that's just, we charge $7 now for USPS, and there are days whenever I go in and look at it, I'm like, God, that's so expensive to pay to get something shipped. But
yeah,
the UPS pickup would be between $6 and $10. Yeah, and we're still in negotiations with a financial investor that believes he can get us licensing through a few different schools this year and then start expanding. But we're talking about having a pretty decent inventory on hand. being able to kind of expand some of the stuff that we've wanted to do in the past. He's the one fronted the Cleveland stuff, because I told him, I was like, listen, there's a handful of markets we could go to right now and do well. I mean, I don't think we would have the same effect that we maybe had with Kentucky, but and we do well in the Cincinnati and the Louisville market now. And I was like, Cleveland would be a big one. We're about to announce another NIL athlete, which is moving to a dominant SEC school. And we're going to start working towards some stuff like that. We're just feeding all kinds of information that's nowhere out there yet.
Yeah.
But
scoop already.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just glad Hugh doesn't have Twitter, because he's going to be pissed whenever he sees this. He's going to be like, we're just spilling all the beans. We're just going to tell him everything we know.
Yeah. That's how it works now.
He said what's new. Yeah, but no, it's exciting, man. It's I don't know. We're actually coming up on the 1 year. I'm actually going to do a giveaway on Twitter. Let's do it together.
Okay.
We can do it through your personal and the Insight and Offsides page. For the 1 year anniversary for the Upside Down Kentucky hat, we'll give away one. I've got a basement full of them still, and in cease and desist fashion from Fanatics, we'll give one away on Twitter.
We love it.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
But
what? I know there's got to be some ideas that you guys have like thought of, because like I do it all the time. I'm like, this is a great idea, and then you start like looking at it, like you make it, and you're like, that's not even anything close to what I imagined it being.
Not that. So I had one night. Like most of my ideas are late at night on the couch, like watching TV, like thinking about something, or like see something on the internet, and I'm like, okay, this is what it should be. And for some reason, all these people were posting like local, like locals only, which actually a song that I love by Ernest, but it was like for some reason all these people kept posting the word local, and I was like, it would be sick. And I don't really feel like it's so much a London thing, I guess, because nobody, I don't know, but like a lot of beach towns and places like that, people are like, oh, they're a local.
Mm-hmm.
So I put the word local upside down on the khaki and camo hat, put it on the internet, put it up as a poll, and it was bad. Like, it was so bad. I sent it to our embroiderer, and I was like, get ready to make hundreds of these. I was like, this is going to go to the moon, dude. And his mom owns a big boutique down in Seaside, and whenever he sent it to her, or whenever I sent it to him, he's like, my mom will probably want to use this in the store. He's like, this will be huge. He was like, everybody wants to say they're a local here and da-da-da. And I posted on Twitter, and people were like, do you have working eyes? Like walk into traffic. The Instagram poll was worse. Like, Hugh votes no on everything that we post on Instagram. It could be his idea, and he will poll vote no, which drives me nuts. And Hugh was like, do not post that. He's like, please God, don't put that on the internet. And Hugh doesn't have Twitter, so like, but Instagram, it went to Instagram, and there were like, it was like in 6 hours, like 30 no's and like my one yes. That's how bad it was. I couldn't believe it. I was like, get the print and press ready. We're going to the moon. Quite the contrary. I'd have been the only person wearing that stupid hat. Yeah. What about you? Like, have you had like a podcast idea or like a?
Not necessarily a podcast idea, but it's like a graphic, and I'm like, this is gonna be killer. Everybody's gonna love this, and it's like, I'll look at it like later, and I'm like, this is horrible.
Didn't you have like a KFC or like a wasn't it like Shador or something, or
Yeah. So I did. So okay, when the Browns drafted Shador, everybody's like, oh, I can't believe you fell this far, blah blah blah, and then like KFC's official Twitter, like the Chicken Hut, responds to
the picture.
Yeah, no, response to Shador, and they're like, the Colonel did all this, da da da. You know, Shador Sanders, Colonel Sanders. Funny joke in my head.
Yep.
So I typed in the chat GBT or chat whatever it's called. I type in Shador Sanders as Colonel Sanders, post it, and then I'm like, 3 hours later, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a horrible idea. Because I thought it would just be like a cool, like, you know, it might catch on, like, you know, he might ball out and stuff. And I was like, this is horrible. I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah. Yeah. The
Yeah, I went
irony.
a little incognito because I was like, I did not think this tweet through.
My bad for bringing it back up.
No, you're good. I think it's funny. No, but yeah, that's probably been one of the few. What else was it? I mean, there's been a few like where the funniest parts when I was trying to keep up with the commits, like National Signing Day, like who actually would like sign.
Yeah.
And dude, there was so many, like, cause they committed like, or they signed like really quick. So I'm like rushing through trying to keep it going.
Yeah.
And dude, I'm like typing in names wrong. I'm putting wrong positions.
Oh, I think I remember this.
Yeah, one of them DM'd me. Yeah, one of them DM'd me. They're like, they just typed out their name, and I was like, yeah, awesome, man. I'm glad you're Wildcat. He's like, no, you spelled my name wrong, man. And I was like, oh yeah. I was like, let me get that fixed real quick.
Dang.
Because like I'm pretty sure I was like still like in bed doing that, like just like laying there typing it.
I couldn't. I would for sure screw that one up.
Dude, I misspell all the time, and like I don't or I don't put the right like periods in the right spot or the commas.
Yeah.
And how I'm this far in life and still doing that, and like I'll send it and then I'll reread it and I'm like, no wonder nobody knows what I'm talking about half the time. Like I don't even like read before I send.
My most viral tweet ever was missing a word. I don't remember what word it was, but the Cooper de Jean or whatever. Yeah. I posted it, and as it was going viral, I was like, I forgot a word. My bad. And it was, yeah. I mean, there's not a lot you can do after you put it out there, unless you're verified. But no, not verified. So I don't know. We've had a couple other bad ideas. We're going to do something for breast cancer awareness. We're not going to really go into like necessarily like how it affects state line, but it is something we're going to try to offer a pink hat this year with like our logo, and like we're going to offer another one with like the state outline on it, kind of like the dad hats in pink with white. And we're probably going to do a pink hoodie with just like State Line Co., like the new font, like across the chest or something. They'll be reasonably priced. A percentage of sales will go to breast cancer awareness organization of some kind. But I jokingly sent a picture of it to Hugh, and I sent it in the State Line group chat. Cody doesn't really care what we do. Hugh is like, John, you got to stop, like, be an adult, like, use your brain. But it was State Line Co. across the chest. And on the back, it was like huge printed. And it said like 3 and then like 4 and then tits at the bottom. And Hugh was like, absolutely not. Hugh doesn't have Twitter. So I was like, well, I'll put it on Twitter and see what everybody thinks. Hugh's like trying to download the app. Like,
yeah, go in and delete it.
We won't do that idea. But I sent that one in State Line, and Hugh was like, absolutely not. We're not going to have the word on one of our hoodies. It's like,
yeah.
I mean, it's going to breast cancer awareness, and I mean, it's a neon pink hoodie, but yeah, that's another terrible idea of mine, at least.
Yeah. I mean, there's some companies that do, like stuff like that.
Barstool Sports, we're just not them.
Yeah, Barstool throws some like wild stuff out there.
Well, I mean, their CEO is Dave. I mean, they'll do anything. I mean, we're talking about the guy that buys like $500 bottles of champagne and has people's names like etched into it, and then whenever something bad happens in their life, he like pops the bottle or whatever. Like, there's nobody with more bad ideas than him. He just was. I mean, it's kind of one of the things that, like, I don't know. I hope that I'm good at it someday. But I feel like Dave was very, very successful at surrounding himself with like smart people, like PMT, KFC, which KFC is questionable, but like Big Cat, like some of those
Big
original
Cat.
Barstool guys are like. I mean, look at Caleb Presley.
Yeah.
Caleb Presley and Glennie Balls, Pat McAfee, Alex with whatever podcast. Like Dave has found some absolute like rock stars,
Yeah.
and it feels like the one thing he's always done well at is like bringing good people in and like putting them in positions to be successful. But he's an idiot. I love his one bite stuff, and I love what he did for small businesses. But still, don't take away from the fact the dude's like a legitimate psychopath.
He is a Boston fan, so
Yeah, it checks out.
yeah.
It checks out.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to give you, this is a little segue into the sports section of this podcast. So I'm going to give you let's say five NFL quarterbacks. It's going to be all time, so it's a little easier. Okay. But I'm not going to tell you who's next, and you're going to have to rank them 1 through 5.
Oh my God.
You ready?
Yeah.
All right. So I've got them on my phone.
Okay.
All right. Number 1, first guy, Brett Favre.
It's so scary.
Purely football, Brett Favre.
I'm gonna say 4.
4?
I'm terrified who else is on this list. But yeah, I think 4.
All right. Joe Montana.
2.
Okay. Steve Young. Jameis Winston.
Oh my God. I'm so scared because I want to go 1 because I love Jameis because I'm terrified who the next person is. Because if it's not Tom Brady, I look like an idiot.
Well,
for having Montana at 2 and Favre at 4 and Jameis Winston's somehow going to be either above or just barely below. All right. God, if Johnny Manziel is the 5th person, I'm going to go nuts. Oh my God. All right. Jameis is 1, Johnny is 3. Man, that's tough. I thought Brady had to be on the list, so I was like Joe's.
That's a good.
Man, that's a tough look because you're gonna clip this so that I'm like, oh yeah, we got Jameis at 1, we got Johnny at 3, we got Montana at 2.
Yeah, so it was Jameis at 1, Montana at 2.
Yep.
Johnny Football at 3.
Brett Favre
at 4. And then Steve Young at 5.
Yeah, that list is tough.
I mean, dude, honestly, Johnny Football, Tebow's prime at Florida. Tebow's prime, like the college, like he was the dude.
I think he's the best college. I'm not going to say quarterback because there's been way better quarterbacks. He's the best college football player of all time, in my opinion.
Yeah.
From winning.
He had the aura,
yes,
the leadership, and then just looking back at the locker room that he had to quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it's crazy. Like, Cam Newton had a great podcast with Shannon Sharp and was like, dude, the Netflix documentary about Florida was a joke, which I agree. Like, they didn't tell us anything we didn't know. But he was like, man, he's like, if you want the real scoop, he's like, call up Percy Harvin. He's like, he'll tell you for free. And, like, you got Aaron Hernandez out, like, I mean, killing people. Percy Harvin, like, everything that went on in that locker room. And then you've got a dude kneeling after touchdowns, like, thanking the Lord and stuff. And the rest of the team just out murking people.
Yeah, I mean, you had the Pouncey brothers, Percy Harvin. Him, who was that safety they had?
The dude that talked about killing the Oklahoma player.
Yeah.
I can't remember right off, but that clip is so awesome. When he's like, I could have got the ball, but I seen him, and I was like, oh, this is insane.
Yeah. Dude, that team was insane. That was like one of the first like mega teams I remember.
Tebow calling his shot when Tebow was like, when he had that press conference and he was like, this will not happen again. And then like just ran the table. I was like, that's elite level.
Mm.
And what's crazy is like like I think what you started to say though is Tebow was so far on the other side of the spectrum of Johnny Football. And like Johnny Football's career, his highlight reel is one of my favorite of all time. Like any highlight reel of Johnny Football. I mean, he beat Saban in his prime, like in his
As a
dynasty era.
freshman.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Dude, when the Browns drafted him, I went nuts, dude. That was
Oh,
probably the most in I've ever been on a quarterback.
yeah. Only to find out he's brain dead. He can't, dude can't read.
Yeah, it's like years later, I think he was on like Joe Thomas and Andrew Hawkins' podcast, and he told like the Billy Vegas story, like word for word, like what happened. Like I think that was the first time he'd ever like really talked about it. And he told, and like he was like, yeah, he goes, I wasn't gonna do it, and then my buddies talked me into going, and they ended up getting like
Dude,
what are they called? Delayed.
yeah.
There's another name for it, or overbooked the flight or something.
Yeah.
He got delayed in Vegas, and then like didn't come in to the game till like real late, and they just said he had a concussion, and then that was it.
He there was a coach. Have you seen where the guy said that he went in and told the Browns like no, it was actually what is Miami's head coach? What's his name?
No, you're thinking of he coaches for the Niners. He was the one that did the press conference. Kyle Shanahan.
No.
Oh. Okay, never mind. I know what you're talking about now. Yeah,
Well, the Miami head
McDaniels.
coach was like he was like he was the one getting the data from the iPads for like usage.
Mm.
And he like went to the Browns head coach and was like, Johnny's laptop or Johnny's iPad is at 0% usage. Like he's not opened a single playbook.
Yeah.
The guy was like, there's no way it's possible. And he's like, I was a young coach. Like, I just tried to stay in my lane. Like, I tried telling him, like, this dude ain't doing what we think he's supposed to be doing. And he's like, everybody thought I was an idiot. And he was like, and then when the season was over with, they sat Johnny down and were like, hey, if you don't care, walk us through this. And Johnny didn't know how. And that's when they realized he legitimately had never opened the playbook.
Yeah.
I was like, God.
Well, okay, so going into that year, you had Brian Hoyer. Cleveland loved that guy because the year before he had a little stretch. We won like 5 games the year before. He was like 3-2 as the quarterback. Come back into the next year, it's like, okay, we got him, we got Johnny,
Yeah.
we got Connor Shaw, and like the Browns start off pretty hot. Johnny's rookie year, like they were, I think, I want to say 6-3 at one point, and like the leader in the AFC.
That's crazy.
And then they go into Atlanta. They beat Atlanta, like keep boosting. There was a loss in between that Atlanta game and then the Cincinnati Thursday night game that like took them to the number 1 spot. And then they go into Buffalo. Brian Hoyer gets hurt. Johnny comes in, and just like that's where the meme of him just laying down in the end zone, that's where that comes from. And then the next week, it was his first start versus the Bengals in Cleveland. They waxed us, dude. Like, Johnny was handing it off on the wrong side, like, couldn't get anything. Everybody's just looking at him, just doing that. It was just bad.
He, I gotta get it out. It's upstairs in one of the guest closets, but I have a Johnny Manziel, a nice, like, at the time they were like $100, like, stitched jerseys.
Mm-hmm.
I have a Johnny Manziel jersey that I bought at Dick's in Mentor, Ohio for $6. The like his last season with the Browns.
Yeah.
And yeah, I love that thing. Like I walked into Dick's looking for a pair of golf pants like that I needed in a hurry, and I looked over and seen it like on the sales rack, and I was like, "Yep." I was like, "That thing could have been $60, and I was getting it because this thing's gonna be legendary." Like one day at a party house somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with a good old Johnny football jersey.
No, and
Like,
I mean, yeah, number 2, like brown stitched, like just it's a fun memory now.
yeah, for sure. And it's, I mean, there's been so many Browns quarterbacks in my lifetime.
What I see the other day, like 40 starting quarterbacks since '99.
Probably more than that, honestly.
On draft day, I thought I seen a stat, and it was like 40 starting quarterbacks. So, I mean, you got to think. I mean, they're probably factoring in like exhibition games and some stuff like that. Because I mean, I would say like true season starters since '99. I mean, it's probably up there. But
no, it's probably 40. Like, because 2016, like, no joke, bro. It's bad. Like, okay, just over the last 4 years. Okay, 2020. Yep. The wife was calling. So 2020 you had Baker, and then you had Case Keenum, and then Austin Davis started a game in there, or he was 2021. And then you go into 2022, you got Jacoby Brissett, Deshaun Watson. The next year you got Joe Flacco, Deshaun Watson, DTR. And last year you had Deshaun, DTR, Jameis. And then this year you got Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Shador, and Dylan Gabriel. So, like, it's only going to go up. Like, I guarantee one of them's going to get traded, and then the other three guys will all start a game at least.
Yeah. I seen a tweet today, and I don't know if it was real. It said Shador was starting game 1. I don't see that personally. No. I figured it was clickbait. I think it'll be Flacco game 1 for sure.
Yeah, I think Kenny Pickett gets traded.
I do too. Kenny Pickett ain't got no business being in that locker room, I don't think.
Yeah, which I don't think that they thought they were going to get Shador and Dylan Gabriel. Like, I don't think anybody thought that Shador slap was going to happen, like, as bad as it did.
I definitely thought he would go. I definitely thought it's possible he could make it to day 2.
Yeah.
I didn't. I would have said my guess on day 2 was like 40%. Now, like the drop that he had, nobody seen that coming.
Yeah, it was, like, I honestly thought, like, when they made the trade down, I was like, okay, they're going to get a running back, and then they're going to take Shador, like, once the day 1 completed. And it was just, it kept falling, and I was like, the Dylan Gabriel pick had me though. Like, I was about to throw stuff.
Yeah, but I don't hate the Dylan Gabriel pick, but
I talked myself into it pretty quick. But at the moment, I was just like, Shador's on the board. He's on the board.
If they hadn't got Shador, I think it would have been tough, especially if it had been somebody in their conference that got Shador over them. I don't know. I think it'll be one of those deals where a lot of it's going to depend heavily on kind of how things go with Shador and Dylan.
Yeah.
It should be a fun season. I personally love that the season starts Bengals-Browns. We're talking about coming up, dividing and conquering. I got a couple of Cincinnati friends that are probably going to try to tailgate somewhere with Cincinnati people and bring some apparel, and we're going to try to do something with Bengals people, or not Bengals, Browns people, and try to set up. I've told Jordan forever, I don't think there's any greater NFL tailgate than Browns. Buffalo would be insane during the winter, but like your all's Muni lot by the lake, like, it's beautiful. Like, it's just, it's a super cool spot.
Yeah. So, all right. So I'm going to give you a little two easier questions. Not really easier, but they're fun. So before we even get to the preseason, nobody even really knows what's going on with the NFL. Let's hear an early Super Bowl prediction, like super early.
Man, I really don't know. Like, I actually don't love that question. And without, like, doing a look, hold on one second.
Well, I'll give you a team that I think is going to surprise a lot of people.
Oh, this should be good.
I think it's going to be the Patriots.
No,
like, I think
really?
that they could. Yeah, I think they could push for a playoff spot this year.
Like, what? I guess
the coaching, and then they just revitalized those their offensive line, defensive line, which they had a lot of good young bucks on there. I mean, they got their guy Drake May. They bring in Diggs. I think Vrabel's going to do it. Like, I think he'll start off hot. He'll slowly dwindle over the years. I think he'll be consistent in that mid-range.
If
offensively,
I want to so bad say that I think the Bengals will be in the championship. I need the Bengals to win a Super Bowl while I live in Cincinnati. I was in Chicago whenever the Cubs won. I was in Cleveland whenever the Cavs won. I would love to be here because, I mean, Cavs winning, historic. Cubs winning, historic. If the Bengals win, then like I'm going to start finding GMs and be like, listen, guys, I lived in the city when this stuff happened. But man, I'm going to be honest. I think Josh Allen, like if the Bengals are going to go to the Super Bowl, it's got to happen, in my opinion, this year or next.
Mm.
And I say that because if this Higgins, Chase, Burrow thing doesn't work pretty soon, you're going to lose one of those pieces. And I know they all three just signed contracts, but like if that experiment doesn't start to work pretty soon, it's not going to go well in Cincinnati.
Well, they worked out a deal like in the contract for Higgins, like they can cut him next year.
Yeah.
And it's wild.
I'm telling you, I would love to see the Bengals do it, but I think Buffalo goes to the Super Bowl this year in the AFC because Josh Allen has been like I love Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Just the way he plays. Like he plays like a 90s quarterback like now, and the whole no stars, like all that stuff is awesome. I think if you made me pick two teams that I was like, if you made me pick two teams that I think shocks everybody that goes, Buffalo's the least shocking. And if I had to pick another least shocking, I think San Francisco again. Like I think they're rock solid. Who I think had a phenomenal draft is the Giants. I don't know if that's going to make a hill of beans difference, but I love Dart. Abdul Carter was huge, like for them, and you got Wan'Dale Robinson still. Like I think they have an opportunity. Yeah, like they could be big, but man, it's just so tough anymore. Like, I mean, the NFL is pretty even. I feel like
a lot of teams reloaded. I think out of the NFC, I could see a Super Bowl matchup. I think the Eagles are going to run it back. They're stacked, dude.
Yes.
Saquon's, I mean, he's still a dog. They've kept most of that offense together. They got the best line in the league. They lost a lot on defense, but they're like Alabama under Saban. They just got them underneath, like the stars buried on the depth chart, and you've just not saw them yet. And then on the AFC, I'm torn. I think Patty Mahomes gets back, but I hate to say this. It hurts me.
I'm ready.
I could see the Ravens winning the AFC next year. I hate it. It hurts me. Dude, they're stacked.
I don't love that one at all.
They just they don't die. Like they just replenish every year. Some stud just falls right into their lap. Like they just get great drafts every year, and it's just like how? Like how do you guys keep doing this? How do you keep getting away with it?
Yeah, I just think Lamar is like the king of choke. I don't know about that one, brother. I hate it.
I think that they finally get over the hill. It's one of them, like, you know how like a narrative sticks, and then it takes that one time for the narrative to fall off.
Yep.
I think it's going to be this year. I don't think they win the Super Bowl because I think the Eagles will just kill them.
Yeah.
But which I also wouldn't be shocked if the Rams did something in the NFC.
Yeah.
Matt Stafford is a dog, and he's so underrated.
He's been playing in the NFL, I think, like 15 years now or something crazy? I think he went to the league. No, maybe not that long.
08 or 09, for sure.
I thought it was my freshman year of college whenever he went, which would have been 10. Matt Stafford draft 9. Yeah.
Yeah. I know he was a little bit after Aaron Rodgers.
That's crazy. This will be his 16th season in the NFL. And the dude was like Humpty Dumpty in Detroit. Like got murdered.
He still put up the stats.
Yeah. He was a dog. And yeah. It's crazy that he went to L.A., won a Super Bowl, and Goff went to Detroit and went to a Super Bowl. Like, or no. Did Goff go to the Super Bowl, or did he get beat again?
No, they got beat out early. But I think this year, Detroit's going to fall off.
I can see that a little bit.
I mean, they lose Ben Johnson. They lose Aaron Lynn, or whatever his name is. Or Aaron Glenn. That's his name.
They still got Josh Pascal.
Yeah. Good old Kentucky boy. Well, I think they still got Za'Darius too.
Yeah, and they got and he's not a UK guy, but they still got Hutchinson. Yeah. But I don't know. I grew up like not my parents. There were only two things that they hated, and that was NASCAR and NFL and NBA sports.
Yeah.
And so like really until I started moving around with the railroad, like I was never in a city that that mattered. It was UK basketball, and then UK football was the filler in between. It's kind of how I grew up. So
See, I grew up, dad's from Cleveland. So, like, the Browns got beaten to my head. Like, you gotta support the dogs.
yeah,
The dog pound. And it's been a life of misery. But we did get a championship in 16, so that's all that matters. But yeah, it's football, as weird as it is, being from Kentucky, football is really not that big of a sport here. Like, I mean, it's growing.
I think you could make the argument we've probably got like one of the more bottom tier high school football states. Like, I mean, we just don't produce a ton of like Division I athletes each year.
Yeah, you get a lot out of like Louisville,
Yeah.
the Lexington area, a little bit in northern Kentucky,
Yeah.
like near Cincinnati. You'll get some out of there.
Yeah, a lot of quarterbacks out in northern Kentucky, like up around High. I mean, I think Tolles was from up here. Obviously, Lorenzen was from up here. I mean, there's been several big name quarterbacks from up here. I think Riles' quarterback, whenever I was in high school, went to Harvard, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, as a quarterback. But yeah, I don't know. It's not like Florida or Texas or Alabama, Louisiana. It's not like those states. Ohio.
Yeah, Ohio pumps out the athletes.
Youngstown, dog.
Dude, Youngstown, Northeast Ohio,
Yeah.
just some crazy athletes. Like, if you think about it, okay, this isn't even football. This is basketball. Two of the greatest basketball players to ever play come out of the same hospital in Akron, Ohio.
That is low-key crazy.
Steph and LeBron, same hotel,
Huh?
hospital.
Steph was born up there.
Yeah, Dell played in Cleveland, like when he was born.
That's wild.
Yeah, but it's getting a little late, brother. I appreciate you hopping on for the first episode of this fine here podcast.
Oh, yeah.
So if you've listened this far, follow us, subscribe, whatever you want to do. Show some love. Appreciate you guys. And as always, God bless America.
God bless.